Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Live in St. Cloud podcast. We're in New Jersey.
Yeah,
right?
Newark. To be exact, right outside Bada Bing's, it seems.
I need some pizza, man. This is great.
Welcome to the Live in St. Cloud podcast, your inside look at the heart of St. Cloud, Florida, hosted by Jason Levy of Around My Town and local expert realtor Dalton Albritton. Let's dive in.
So actually, we're at the Black Squirrel Bookstore, and this is one of the VIP sections
We're VIPs today. Actually, I definitely feel like VIPs because we are basically alone in the establishment. So.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's nice and quiet. I love it. But this is great. Joey, she's actually putting together nice sections to have your guests, drinks, and just your own little area. She has 2 of them, and then there's more space to have. This is great feel. We just need to get some pizza from Chimento's.
Yeah, and then walk next door and have a drink in the speakeasy and feel really part of the mob in the 1920s London instead of 1990s and early 2000s Newark, New Jersey for The Sopranos. Yeah, there's definitely a big slice of ambiance that is compartmentalized in an even larger establishment that has nothing but character and ambiance, which is awesome.
Yeah, this is a very unique place. Something else that you could find when you live in St. Cloud. I love it.
Speaking my language, uniqueness.
Yes.
And
sure.
A lot of the breweries, we did an event, a social after dark event at Bonesack, which was not as clean and compartmentalized, but what I loved about it was there was artistry, there was artistry everywhere. Every room had a little bit of a different style.
Yeah.
There was a lot of games, there was a lot of creative freedom in that building, which I really was drawn to.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too. There's a lot of we'll do one. We'll do a podcast, an episode, one of these days there.
Yeah, he's coming up actually in April.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. And there's all games. Pretty much every game you could imagine is at Bonesack.
Yes.
Like literally every game.
Yeah, it's a great. Black Squirrel and Bonesack are great little establishments for. I can speak as an introverted person that loves games and loves books. They're great for that type of person because they were established by that personality type.
Yeah, it's true.
If you want to get out and feel like you're with a group of your own, you can find that in these places.
And before we forget, the 3rd Saturday of every month, Black Squirrel is hosting a wine walk. Wine walk that basically you get your glass of wine and you go from place to place and you have your ticket and they serve you a little glass of wine, 2 ounces or 1 ounce pour. But it's great to experience downtown and it's awesome.
I would say that's likely liberating for those that want to be out and experience a lot of different venues and that wine.
Right. And then you get to try different wines. You get to see different venues. You get to shop as well. So it's a whole sip and shop. And I'm sure Cocoa Beach has it, Sanford has it, Winter Park has it, and St. Cloud didn't. So congrats, Joey, for putting that together.
Yes, bringing those very prominent community events to St. Cloud is, I just love it. That's something that's why I started the podcast, right? It's just, some things we don't have here that I feel like we need, and that goes to a value of traditions and innovation. Is we can still stay a small town, but we can innovate within that small town.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I love it. Have you gone to any of the wine walks? Not just here, but just in other places?
I don't. The only time that I drink, you've seen me drinking. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Well, look at this.
Very seldom.
So you have.
But it's still a great way to make connections, especially in that nice freeing space.
Yeah, but there's there's like a whole menu, different 1, 2, 3, 4. Like each venue has at least 5 or 6 bottles of wine for you to pick from, and we're talking about the Jeweler Store, Chimento's, Breeze, Island Cloud Grill, Fire, East Row Market, Savvy Sweets, Garage Bar. Like this goes down the list. I mean, you could literally spend the whole entire afternoon just walking and enjoying yourself. That's great. 1, 2, 3. Each one, has 4 or 5 different wines to pick from. If you couldn't make it out to this one, which is tomorrow, make sure you check it out. It's the 3rd Saturday of every month.
Good. Nice promotion there.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love Joey. I love the Black Squirrel. This is great. She's been a great partner of ours.
Oh,
for
100%.
multiple
Absolutely.
times
Yeah.
in different instances, right?
Yeah.
It's not even the same, and we're just repeated. It's live in the front when we did at the market. We did another live for the parade. We're here casually.
Showcasing the inside, obviously. The video will only do so much. This is an establishment you have to walk into.
Yeah, you have to come.
Yeah.
You have to come. I would love to find out the percentage of people that are watching, or even when we do a poll on Facebook or on Instagram, how many have not visited the Black Squirrel
Yeah.
yet? And if you haven't, you need to get out.
Yeah, let's see if those numbers increase, because they should. Everyone I talk to has nothing but good things to say about this establishment, myself included.
Yeah.
You were trying to get me in here for a while. Like every time we went to a monthly market, have you checked out the Black Squirrel? And we walked down here twice and it wasn't open. The first time I was in here was actually to do the podcast, and then they happened to have another networking after dark meeting.
Was that the first time you came?
Yeah.
Nice. I popped your cherry. That's
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Good stuff. You want to keep on with the events component, right?
Yeah, shoot out some more events that are coming up. This is a big time for St. Cloud right now. Talking about traditions, there's a lot of traditional events coming up.
Yes, sir. I'll try to post it as soon as possible, but everybody knows that we have the rodeo parade tomorrow at 10 a.m., Saturday the 15th. But it starts rodeo season, right? So the actual rodeo is next week, which is the 21st, rodeo day, and it has that whole weekend. The fair is also a huge part of it. So the fair starts this weekend, the 14th, which starts today. Valentine's Day, which, by the way, happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day to us.
Great company for Valentine's Day with this guy.
There you go. Look, we're here having pizza.
There's hearts and red clouds all over the place.
And then you have the fair, right? So the fair is these next 2 weekends. And I've never been to this fair.
You've never been?
I've never been to this fair, but I know it's a huge deal that everybody in St. Cloud goes to.
Okay, so since we're adults talking to each other, talking to primarily more adults, this is what I'll tell you, at least in my experience. Try not to go on a weekend.
Okay.
Because it is packed with your late teens, mid-teens, early 20s. Not trying to sound negative. If your take it as negative, I apologize. But I don't know how much they've cleaned it up, but sometimes they have a little bit of a rowdy crowd show up, because it's always been a staple. People that grew up here more than likely take their kids to go to the fair.
Got it.
A lot of high schools around there, things like that, they'll take off, go to the fair. So, at least in my experience, and I love fair food and thrill rides, like two of my favorite things, I usually try to go. The last couple of years I went with my niece. We went during the day, which was great. So if you have kids, maybe pick a day. I know it's hard if they're in school, but maybe try and pick a day that's not as busy, or let them stay out late. I believe you'll get a better experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. Like even all the theme parks growing up here,
right.
We've gotten to a point where we already know when not to go, because I'm not waiting 180 minutes for a Hagrid's. Which, by the way, have you been yet?
What?
To Universal? Hagrid's, have you ridden Hagrid's?
So, fun fact and cool story, two of them actually. So I hadn't been to Universal in probably 10 years.
Okay.
And then lo and behold, and lucky enough, I went with a friend, and it was literally the perfect day to go to the theme park. I didn't know it prior, but it was probably high 60s.
Perfect.
And it was during the week, and the longest we waited on a ride was like 25 minutes.
That's amazing.
That was during the day. And then, so I was invited real estate wise for the Magnifica event that happened a couple months ago. They rented out all of Islands of Adventure overnight. Basically every ride was operational. There was no wait. Like you would just be like, hey, I want to go on this. And then you could just keep going on it.
So did you go on Hagrid's?
I did a couple between the 2 days. I believe I did Hagrid's at least once, because the first time I did both parks, and the second night I did just Islands of Adventure.
By far the best ride in Universal. That one, Velocicoaster, I think.
But yeah, I was going to say Velocicoaster, man.
Yeah, Velocicoaster was pretty, it was intense.
But I like intense thrill rides.
Yeah, that's really intense.
Yeah.
So if you like intense rides, that's good. But the point I was making is, for the fair, you're not going to force yourself to go on a Saturday at 4 o'clock. You know that. It's as a regular, as a local, don't do that, right? So either early in the morning or weeknight. So I agree to that as
and
well.
I know a couple of, I can only shout out one because I know for sure he's usually there, but Vinny's with Jimmy Bayer's Barbecue usually has a stand there.
Yeah.
And they do bring in some local vendors for food and things like that, which is great.
That's cool.
It's community involvement to the 10th power.
Speaking of community too, so my wife works at a school, and both kids go there, that they're actually going to be making an appearance, and they're going to have a booth there to talk about the school and the charter. So it's called Matter St. Cloud. So they're going to have a booth there as well. It's great because it shows that you have a choice and pick through different schools and different opportunities here instead of just sticking to the public school that's right by your house. It were nice. I love it there. No complaints about that.
So you brought up a great segue, which is I know they've been talking to you about the podcast. So let's discuss how our demand is right now, just to get it out there.
Speaking of, so Matter St. Cloud, so the principal is on my you-know-what, because he goes, you're telling everybody, and you already have 20 episodes in, and you have 30, and you haven't reached out to me. And I'm like, listen, it's out there, right? We're actively trying to get it out there. We'll send you the Calendly.
Yeah. At this point, there's not a lot of people we reach out to.
At this point, it's insane. We're essentially booked every weekend, every other weekend for months. And it's fantastic. Today was a scheduling conflict because of Valentine's Day or for what have you, but I think it's exciting. We're going to reach out. For those of you, if you want to be part of the podcast and you have not reached out or sent me your email or Facebook message, send me contact. Just contact me directly. Jason Levy on Facebook. It's easy, and you'll be able to go on. I'll send me your email. We'll send you the Calendly, and we'll book. Let's just book it. And if we have to move it later, we'll move it later. But
agreed. You have to get in right now. We are, and this is just because we only book to a certain point. This isn't saying, oh, we only have this many.
Right. No.
We're into summer now.
Yeah.
We're into summer, and we still have a list of probably 30 people.
Yeah.
That we have to book during summer and fall. So it's, and this is what I say during my introduction emails, is our time schedules. You're super busy. Real estate never stops. Like, we will get you in as soon as we can get you in, especially if you guys can make the time. However, a shout out, another good segue, a quick shout out to our sponsors, because our working partnerships, Joey, United Construction Solutions, All Family Seamless Gutters. Did I get that right? Matt can just slap me if I got it wrong. It's cool.
All season seamless gutters.
All season seamless
but
gutters.
Complete construction. Yeah. I mean, they offer the venue in most times, right?
And Kenyon Lockery coming up as well.
Oh, yeah.
So these established relationships, and I will refer to them as relationships because we're always throwing ideas back and forth.
Yeah.
We're always helping each other out. These people do get to pick their schedules if they want to do something. Yes, they work within the confines with us.
Right.
But these people are investing in us.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to invest in them and allow their schedules to be whatever they want it to be. When it comes to sponsorships and partnerships, if you need a certain time that doesn't work for us, talk with us about some type of investment, and we'll make the time work. We still are flexible. We still make times work. But it's getting really difficult.
Yeah, and the other component too of the sponsorship too is to help us grow. We're expanding every single day. We got new mics. We got a mixer now to have more mics. We're investing pretty much every couple of weeks. And in order to help support that and to support the venue, we would love for additional sponsors and or donations. I mean, it's whatever you guys can make work. I think it's great. We'll put your logo out there. We'll put your mentions on there. United Construction Solutions and All Season Seamless Gutters has been a staple since the pretty much beginning.
And you get prioritized as well.
And you get prioritized.
I don't want that to come across as we're not prioritizing everyone.
Yeah.
But with the demand, you have to prioritize. I'm super excited about it. Jason and I are super excited about it. We do want to bring more people on and more teams, and the more connections we make, you never know where a video editor is going to fall out of the sky out of a connection.
That's
you never know where someone that happens to have cameras that we can purchase to have better equipment and better lighting and better sound. We're always looking for those types of things, and we need it because it's not just about us. We want to give you guys a great, as professional as we can live up to being, we want to share that experience with you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is great. This has been fun. It's a blast for us to spend an hour and a half just hanging out and just talking. And then being and living in St. Cloud, we get to spotlight a lot of the different areas that we don't necessarily frequent. For example, I would have stayed home worked on other things, but now we're out here, and because we're out here, I'm able to put money in St. Cloud. We'll have a couple beers, or we'll have some pizza and Chimentos, because I'm actually just past my lunchtime.
This guy, every time I'm with him, hey, you want to get food? Hey, you want to get a beer? Hey, let's go to this place, or let's go to that place. But so I will say that's been great for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm all work all the time.
There you go.
So you are like, let's go here, let's go there. I get to see these places. I get to meet these people, and it makes more connections.
That's the point. So if it wasn't for this podcast and our partnership, we wouldn't have been able to do all those things.
Right.
Yeah, we'll go out once in a while because we've been friends from before, but we're spotlighting just right now. We wouldn't have been here and then have a couple beers afterwards if it wasn't for the scheduling that we did with Joey.
Yeah, and that's my way of telling you that I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because that's like you said, that's the fun of this for me.
Yeah.
That's the pull of the adventure of it,
Yeah.
is going and seeing and doing things I've never done. I love that aspect. And that's why I like sitting down with people, because even every person I sit down in front of and I question, that's a whole nother adventure of getting to know someone.
Yeah.
And seeing why they do what they do,
Of course.
and what it's meant to them.
Yeah. No, I love it. And then I want to get into St. Cloud and, oh, we lost the light.
It's
You see?
okay. It's sundown.
It's sundown.
The mood is setting in because it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. All right, so I wanted to get into, we're talking about venues in St. Cloud. We talked about the wine walk, all of downtown, and incorporating visiting and spending money in St. Cloud. But how do you see St. Cloud evolving with real estate, from the real estate front, and expanding the way we would hope?
It's gonna take time, as everything does. But I've been here my whole life. That's coming up on 34 years. I did spend some time in Pittsburgh, 5-6 years of my life. I was up in Pittsburgh, and then I moved back. I would say, just with the way things evolve and the way everything, we'll see more growth in the next 10 years than we did in the last 10 years. And that's going to continue to traject that way because of technology, because of things.
Of
I will say it's a little difficult in Osceola County, because I've talked to a lot of people at this point in my career at very high levels. I'm outside of St. Cloud talking to people with lots of money, lots of plans, things like that. I will say that, at least for right now, what's changing is Osceola County was been, I don't know if I want to go there.
Right.
Reason being is 50, 60, 70 years ago, when my great-grandfather was the game warden in the county, you had your 6 major families that ran everything, and then they had to come together and do this together. From the outside, Osceola County is often looked at as good old boys club, because that's realistically what it's been.
Right.
It's not, and it hasn't been primed for the growth it's seeing. But now we're seeing all of that growth hit, and those things have to be ironed out. So just off the top of my head, I want to do a video on this as well, and we're going to talk about this the next time we sit down with the construction crew. Just the massive amounts of changes and planned infrastructure that's coming in with the 417, with Sunbridge, with Point Siena Parkway, with the new turnpike extension,
exits. Yeah.
all of that coming through the manor, all of the developments hitting the manor right now, and what the plans are for taking over Lake Gentry and all of these other places. And what's crazy about that to me from a real estate perspective is, if you look at your main highest point of the market in Central Florida, your Windermere, your Winter Park, those are the highest point of the market because they're around the chains of lakes. But primarily those chains of lakes are actually closed off and they don't flow to each other.
Right.
The other area with a very decent condensement of lakes would be St. Cloud. But these lakes actually drain off into Okeechobee, which drains off into the ocean. Technically, you're not going to advertise this in real estate. I've seen some people do this, but you have ocean access if you have a boat. I've touched on this before. Windermere was once all fish camps, right? Like, it's not going to happen overnight, but your price point for, all it takes is one luxury development to come in here and start selling, and then people realize, hey, there's room for luxury around here. Plus all of the commercial growth. Something else people don't know that's not really public knowledge is St. Cloud and down into Kenansville was one of, if not the hottest spots in the country for commercial development over the last 5 years. It's not out there because it was private commercial development, people talking about developing.
Yeah.
There's a lot coming, and I don't think you necessarily lose your traditions. Winter Garden didn't lose theirs. Downtown Winter Park didn't lose theirs.
And Sanford didn't lose theirs either.
And people think something's going to go away. And I really don't believe that's the case. What I can foresee for St. Cloud is there is a little bit of discrepancy in the market right now. From my point of view, looking at statistics and looking at the cost of living and everything else, just do basic math on your average price point your average price point for a home because of new construction. If you go through the MLS and you average out every single sale over the last year, your average price point in St. Cloud is about $460. The average income for St. Cloud is $85,000 a year. So if you divide the 460 by 85,000, you, I believe, get around the 4.8, 4.9 areas. So mathematically, if your interest rates aren't there, foreclosures. With the continuing strain of taxes are going up, insurance is going up, which I'm sure will level at some point, as well as your housing prices will level because your inventory is going up right now as well, because people couldn't afford it for the last year and more people want to list houses. Right now, from looking at the statistics real estate wise, you have about 15 or more houses entering the market every month, and you're only selling about, I think last month was only 30 sold.
Wow.
And you have just between December and January, your average days on market went up by 10 days. It went from 65 to 75. In my opinion, professional opinion, anyone can disagree with me. If you disagree with me, let me know why. Let me see the evidence. I'm always open to new information. I could foresee if you play those projections out, plug it into ChatGPT, that's what I did. You play those projections out. By June, July, your average days on market could be 115, 120, and your inventory could increase exponentially. In one neighborhood right now that has 15 houses for sale, by summer it could have 30 houses for sale. So what does that do essentially? So let's say you're a buyer. Let's say, Jason, you want to go look at a house. You love this neighborhood. You have 5 options in front of you. They're all incredibly similar. They're all everything you want. And those 5 options, you have 4 of them priced at 460, and you have 1 priced at 430. Which house do you want to go see first?
I mean, 460?
If you have all of them at 460 and you have one at 430, which one would you want to go see first?
I guess 430, just see.
Especially if they're all look the same.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, because it's cheaper. Yeah. But there's a reason. I'm thinking, is there foreclosure? Is there an issue with the house? You always start thinking that way
you're
too.
thinking, you would start being skeptical, which I would be a natural trait to do. I think if it's 430, I'm going to, especially if it's within a week on the market, I'm going to think, okay, why is this 430? But I'm going to want to go investigate why it's 430. And if it's the same as every other house, I'm going to start wanting to put in an offer on the 430 house.
Makes sense.
And that's where I foresee eventually prices coming down. Let me put it this way. I believe personally there's a huge discrepancy in real estate. I believe that most agents, which your attrition rate is 86%, that's how many don't make it. I believe that if you study the top 10% of the market of agents that are doing their job and doing it very well, and I'm talking top 10% that are constantly closing deals, there's an outlook in the market that we have to follow the market. But the very smart agents, that top 10%, are trend setting the market. Everyone's following them because they're the top 10%. Everyone's following their marketing, everyone's following their price strategies, everyone's following them. I think there's a huge discrepancy in real estate that I can't do much, I just have to follow the market. I don't think that's true. I think all of it is within your control, within reason, especially if you know what you're looking at and you know what you're doing.
Makes sense. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I see it moving. Even though the equity of my house or the value of the house is dwindling a little bit because it just went really high.
Sure.
But it's expected, right? So now you're like, all right, so now that we're at a place where it's about where it should be at this point.
So your house, and this is another common outlook, your house is not depreciating. Your house just isn't appreciating as fast.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people get lost on. I will say as well that a lot of that obviously comes down to the market, people not being able to afford things, the economy, things like that. So you do have to pay attention to how that's affecting real estate.
You know, and I did have another question too as it relates to renters. So if I can't afford right now to buy a house, would you recommend me rent and just because I could afford a down payment. So rent or wait and save money and buy.
When I first started, because this is what's preached to you all the time, and I still see people on social media that work in new construction and all the agents out there like, why rent when you can buy? Why rent when you can buy? Well, right now, not a lot of people can buy, you know. My answer to this question is different now than it was a year and a half ago. For me, that comes down to your situation. If it's more feasible long term, then yeah, I would say you probably
Just
want to
wait.
buy instead of rent. However, if you can't get approved, if situationally it just doesn't make sense
yeah,
and you have
of
to
course.
rent and you can't afford it, go rent. The rental market right now, also inventory is increasing,
Yeah.
which means rental prices are decreasing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I would say, here's what I'm seeing right now, and I've talked to, it started with one person, but now I've seen 5 or 6 of these situations, is people that bought in 2021, 2022, they may now be unable to afford their house. Even at the 5% interest rate that new construction was offering, because taxes went up, insurance went up. If your income hasn't changed in that 3 to 4 years, you now are bleeding and you can't afford your mortgage. So what's happening now, and what I'm seeing is people are moving out of their houses to get someone in to afford the mortgage they can't, but then they're just moving into another house to pay someone else's mortgage. So it's a really interesting game that's being played right now. And I don't think that's going to go away. I think, like I said, if your income hasn't changed, if prices keep going up, the economy stays high, you can't afford your mortgage. Think about it this way. And I'm reaching out to renters asking these questions would be, if you're renting right now because you can't afford your mortgage, if you let that accumulate over the next 3 to 4 months and your house sits vacant for whatever reason, you're now backed up 4 mortgage payments. A lot of people are going to be put in the situation where selling is the best financial decision. And that's not going to go away either. They're going to have to offload. And the reason being, the crux of the reason why this happened is real estate is an investment, and every great investor knows a great investment is when you buy, not when you sell. They bought a house when housing prices were the highest they've ever been. That's not a great investment. You don't buy
Yeah, you
high.
don't want to do that.
You don't buy high when you make an investment.
Right.
And now what they're realizing is, oh, I had to pay closing costs to buy it. I have to pay closing costs to sell it. I apologize for the situation, but that was the situation. You lost. And it's unfortunate because nobody had control over what was going on.
Yeah.
COVID slammed everything.
Man, yeah, I got so lucky. I think we've talked about this before, but I got so lucky. Oh, we're getting caught.
Oh, sweet.
Something's happened. Because I bought during COVID, like literally, like we closed in May of that year. And it was a blessing. I mean, it is a blessing.
Right.
Because the prices were as low as it could possibly be for the house. And my house ended up being a showcase home, which they used initially for, not like a model home.
Yeah, model.
But it wasn't a model. So
Okay.
you had the models to the side, but they used it as a showcase home to show what upgrades you can do, not just the models. The models were just on the side. So this is just, okay, we made these XYZ upgrades and go check it out.
Right.
Not only was it a showcase home, but it had the upgrades, right? And because they couldn't sell the showcase home because already everything was already built around it, we got it at $60,000 cheaper.
Yeah. That's,
And then on top of that, my wife is a licensed realtor, right? She does it part-time. We got realtor fees as well.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, because of COVID, they gave the realtor, the buyer, realtor, incentive for upgraded.
so it essentially came off the price of your house.
It
yeah.
was insane how much value we got for the appliances, for the granite countertops, for the upgraded laundry room, all that at probably a 30% discount. And it's insane. And then literally, little by little, obviously the price increased dramatically, not the price, but like the value of the house.
Yeah.
But we lucked out so much. And now we have a pool, we have a patio, we have pergola.
The
It's
people
amazing.
that bought around your time really lucked out.
We
And
lucked
you,
out, man.
You see a lot right now, and the more bankers I talk to, the more lenders I talk to, HELOCs are crazy high.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants a HELOC now.
Yeah, of
cashing
course,
out
the
that.
equity is insane.
Even if they don't have a lot and they pull out a HELOC, but at the end of the day, like you can use that money you're still taking a lien on your house, and you're still paying possibly 7-8% on the HELOC, the same as you would another mortgage. Some people, again, depending on their preferences, I don't make decisions for people. I just advise them and guide them.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, this is what I would do, but my situation's not the same as yours. Yeah. I'm looking at this through a completely different lens. Yeah. You could go buy another property, same price, and eventually turn it into a rental or do something like that. There's so much in real estate. But I hope I answered some of your question. Going back to what do I foresee in real estate? It's always all over the place. And I tend not to. I really don't like looking at it as a one-size-fits-all thing, and I don't like looking at it as a one-dimensional thing. I believe there's both problems and solutions for whatever works for you. And there's going to be negatives to what you want to do. There's going to be positives to what you want to do. At the end of the day, a life event that big or moving from place to place, it's sacrificing. Yeah. It's sacrificing one life for hopefully a better life or a new life or new financial standing or new environment, whatever. You're always sacrificing something.
Yeah. No, I love it. And you just have to sacrifice, and you have to see if is it worth it.
Right.
Because there's never a perfect time. I think we talked about it.
Yeah. Austin brought it up.
Yeah. There's never a perfect time to make a move.
Yeah. And that's what I feel bad for with people that. The people that had to move are the ones suffering those problems. There was plenty of people coming from out of state with plenty of money that could buy these houses, but the people that had to move in that same time frame, they got stuck in the same financial rut from buying real estate. Those are the ones that are, I'm not going to name names, and he's not the only one that's reached out to me about this, but I had a past client reach out to me, and they bought new construction thinking it was going to be affordable. And now they're like, do we have enough equity to do a HELOC or a reverse mortgage? And I'm like, actually not right now, no, because your price is dropping from what you bought it at. Certain people are like, we need some alleviation on bills, we need this, we need that. And me being a conscientious person, I think, did I get them into that situation? And I know I can't take complete blame for it, but I still feel for them. I'm just like, it was the best decision they could have made at the time, but now it doesn't feel like the best decision.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There's never going to be that perfect time, right? So they needed to make the decision that was right for their family at the time. Mm-hmm. For us, it was a blessing. We were renting a home, and then we moved into a smaller apartment to save a little bit, and we were only there for 6 months because it was that perfect time. It was like, now is the time. So I'm super grateful and very blessed. So I'm happy the way it happened. But so let's switch gears a little bit, just real quick. I want to find out from an outsider's perspective, and I know the answers to a lot of this. What are the top 10 things that you could say, this is a reason why we recommend you buy in St. Cloud?
I wish I could answer that through a personal perspective, but I can't. I can just take reasons I've heard other people tell me they want to live in St. Cloud and why they enjoy living in St. Cloud, yourself included. Yeah. All right. When we first met and we talked about real estate and you talked about moving from Miami, there was the huge change of pace, right? It was the way the community is run. It was, you've seen a lot of heart in the community. It wasn't as busy. It wasn't as hustle and bustle. I've heard things from other sources that was a lot of the same sentiment. I know people that have come from similar environments. I had a past client from Kentucky, similar environment, but St. Cloud was not just a little less. It worked for them in a number of reasons. It did still feel like home, but they had a lot more amenities within 40 minutes. Yeah. You have the parks, you have the airport, you have everything you might want to. 30 minutes outside of St. Cloud and 40 minutes outside of St. Cloud in any direction, you get so many things. Yeah. And it is the last stop before you get to completely nothing. Mm-hmm. You go north, it's everything, everywhere, all at once. So I think St. Cloud is a great middle ground. If you want peace and quiet, community, tranquility, but you also want somewhere that's just moving into their industrious side and has a lot going on in its future, St. Cloud's perfect.
Yeah.
I really do feel that it's growing, and if you are growth mindset, you're going to find the opportunity here.
100%.
You're going to find plenty of opportunity here,
Yeah.
because there is.
And of course, there's nothing ever perfect. There's no town that's super perfect. There's always going to be some cons associated to it. But in a general sense, St. Cloud is everything. Like you said, 30, 45 minutes. We're 40 minutes away from the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
We're an hour and a half away from the other side, Tampa. Half an hour, 40 minutes away from all the theme parks.
And you're safe. You're very safe from hurricanes because it's inland.
Let me tell you, even the last one that was bad for the West Coast, it came in, and I'm like, what? Did we experience a hurricane here?
Yeah. I actually spoke with an agent from Manhattan recently, building referral partnerships. Her main question was, how safe is it from hurricanes? And I'm like, realistically, Central Florida is the most safe you're going to be if a hurricane hits, because you're inland. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to be completely safe, because it's a hurricane.
Yeah, you'll get hit.
It's a hurricane.
You'll get hit.
But you're going to be happy that you weren't on the coast where that hurricane hit.
Yeah. Let me tell you, like, I don't know, now with technology and the radar, like, until we lost power, but I saw the radar, and it was just like, this is dwindling. Oh, look, we're not going to get there. Oh, the tornado is all the way on the other side. It's going to... It was just like, once you're in Central Florida, we didn't get hit.
And I will say,
I didn't get hit, at least.
I've been through too many to count at this point.
Yeah.
I will say that Florida has done a pretty sensational job at preparing for those things.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid, power would be lost for 2 to 3 days. Majority of St. Cloud, I believe, had their power back on within the same day. They've done a great job in building that infrastructure in, hey, we know this is coming, state of emergency, we're on standby to get this fixed as quickly as possible, because we know this is what comes with living in Florida.
Yeah. One thing that I was just thinking right now, too, is this would be a great opportunity to have if we were to be doing our live, to ask a question, like how impacted were you for the hurricanes? I would like to get to a point to get a tablet here or something,
100%,
and then do some of these live. So another reason for us to continue growing, because these are questions that we want to continue interacting with you. You could comment if you like, so we'd love to find out how you got impacted with any of the hurricanes or anything we've talked about. I think it'll be cool for you to comment and say, hey, this I love this, or I love the fact I didn't know about XYZ, or the hurricanes, I was impacted this way. And then what else were we talking about? We were asking questions earlier about the theme parks. If you've been to the fair, if you like the fair, what theme park rides you like the best.
I like that. So because I'm plugged into the BNI network, I get a lot of emails. Being president of the local BNI chapter, people just ask you before they ask anyone else. And I just got one recently this week, which was a whole school from the UK, a lacrosse team, is in Central Florida visiting, and they're BNI members in their country. However, they reached out to me and they said, we'd love to come to a meeting, but also can you give us a little bit of the lay of the land? Do you suggest any restaurants?
Oh, that's cool.
Granny's Southern Smokehouse shouted you out, by the way.
Yeah.
Jimmy Bears shouted you out, by the way, in this
barbecue.
email. Just because, I don't know, maybe it's the St. Cloud in me. I think barbecue when I think local. And then she was asking, what parks should we visit? And I ended up giving her a list of, hey, I know the team probably wants to go to Disney. It's going to be more costly. If you want the most bang for your buck, I suggest like a 2 to 3 day pass to the SeaWorld parks, the Anheuser-Busch parks, because you're going to be able to, one, you'll go see Tampa, but two, the next day for a decent price, you're going to get to see SeaWorld.
Yeah.
And both of those parks now have a ton of roller coasters.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And animal exhibits.
Yeah.
That's probably the most bang for your buck, but she was also asking, what do you think about this and that? And I don't want to use the word pride, because some of that has a negative connotation, but I didn't realize the vastness of my influence from being a local until I had to be a local.
Mm-hmm. Love it. And you experience being a local when you travel with family that are not local to the theme parks and have a staycation. I was there to Universal last week, and it's interesting because you see, not necessarily my family, but in general, families that are traveling, they have to do this and they have to do that. And I'm like, it's all right. It's more than 20 minutes. I'm not going to wait. Or I'll just have a beer out here and wait, just have this snack.
Right.
It was more, I've been there already. So there was 2 rides that I didn't ride that I was like, all right, I have to, some point this weekend we'll have to ride it. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, everything was just like, all right, we've done it before. We could do it again in a couple weeks. So it was nice to experience.
I think for me, because I grew up here and what I went through as a kid, every time I'm at a park, this super serious version most people get of me completely goes away. I feel like a kid again.
That's good. That's
And
good.
I love the parks. I sometimes go to Disney and I'll just ride the monorail because it's free. And I'll go to the different hotels. Not a lot of people know this. More insider local information. There's so much you can do at Disney and experience the ambience of Disney for free.
Yeah.
You could literally go down to the boardwalk's become a hidden gem. Epcot Boardwalk.
Love the boardwalk.
You can go to the Epcot Boardwalk. You can jump on the Skyliner. You could go just make some reservations. If you don't show up, it's $10 out of your account. Who cares? Go to the Contemporary Resort. Jump on the monorail. That'll take you to 4 different resorts that are all their own unique experience. Like all of these things are completely available to you. And look, just as guys, we always have our dates, right? Like our dates planned out in our minds. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds good to me. So there's so many different things you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being a local and taking advantage of things that you don't really know about. I've had people that work at Universal show me how to get in the park for free.
Yeah.
Like
Into the park?
Get into do parking for free.
Oh, okay.
And things like that. There's so many different avenues that you can take.
That's crazy.
That you wouldn't know to do that unless you've done them a couple.
Okay, so one way is to park in, at least for me, park in one of the resorts, go to the restaurant in the resorts, and then get it stamped that you ate there.
Yeah, you can do
That was one of the ways. And then go to the parks or whatever, and then come back and say, oh, look, I did this.
Some of the employee parking, completely open. You'd never know unless someone showed you.
Yeah. But then you have to get a ride to the actual front of the park.
In some cases.
In some cases.
Most of them connect to each other
Yeah.
in some way. And again, you wouldn't know that unless you either work there or know someone that worked there.
I used to work there over 10 years ago. It was a fun time. I used to ride, again, during lunchtime, I would just go, actually equivalent to now, right? After 1, 2 o'clock or whatever, I would just bolt early. So I'm going to have a late lunch to 3:30, 4 o'clock. And at 4 o'clock, no one's going to really bug you or anything.
Right.
So I would go ride rides, have a bite to eat, have a drink or whatever. And it was a nice time.
And I'm the type of personality that gets completely enveloped and invested in what I'm doing. When I would do something like that, it would be, I'm going to go experience all this because it's going to broaden my education to then translate that to a park guest.
Yeah.
I've applied at Disney twice, didn't get in, but I've applied at Disney twice. In preparation for that interview, I watched Disney documentaries. I listened to Disney autobiography books. I did all kinds of things just because, just for me, I want to know as much about what I'm doing as humanly possible.
That's cool. And what did you apply for?
So the first time I did it was I was just going on dialysis at the time, so I didn't pass the physical because I was drained. Obviously, you're going through freaking dialysis. Recently, they had an opening for Disney's Golden Oak, and I applied there because it was going to be a foot in the door for the real estate side.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun. But I'm excited just in general, just being here. There's so many things. And now with the springtime, there's so many activities, so many events. Being a local, talking about the theme parks and the fair and just everything we talked about before with the rodeo. It's just awesome time being here. It's an awesome time to be here.
A real estate shout out, by the way, for those that are going to the rodeo or those ranchers that go and do most of those things that are rodeo related. I do happen to know some people that are looking for lots and lots of acres of land. So if you have lots and lots of acres of land, find a way to get in contact with me because I have someone that probably wants to buy it. And we're talking large payday. Getting that out there as a shameless plug.
Yeah, you go. Love it. Love it. What are you doing this weekend? You have any plans?
Currently, no. Working mostly. I got a couple of things I got to finish up on today.
Okay.
I believe tomorrow I'll probably be real estate life. I'll be going around to houses that recently were taken off the market because they didn't sell for whatever reasons. More than likely, those people either aren't educated in why they didn't sell or that agent shouldn't have taken that listing in the first place. So
Got it.
they need to know those things.
Yeah. So no, it's great. I love it. I love to make sure that you guys help us with our channel. By liking this video, of course, sharing it as much as possible. The more you share, the more views we get out there. And really this is just us having fun and talking about why we love living here, right?
We shout out our last guest and
what
the podcast did for her.
Absolutely.
I don't really know if she really wants it out there, I'll just be general, which is one of our former guests that had just shot a podcast with us got business and new clientele the day after.
I didn't even post it. Like, it was hours after I posted it. Like, not even hours.
Yep.
Like, I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom, and it was, oh, guess what I saw? And I'm like, what do you mean you got this message on Facebook?
And I just want to say, for that someone that was watching, or for other people that are watching, and we're personally opening the door for you to go to these businesses and to literally change your life. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It means a lot to us.
Yeah. Think about it. You're talking to your potential prospect business that you haven't been able to interact. These are people, and us included, that this is us out here. We're putting everything on the line to have this conversation with you. And you're basically interviewing us in a way, right? You're interviewing the guest that we have. So you get to know a little bit more about who we are, who the guest is, and it makes it great. And instead of knocking at a door, doing research, doing Googling, just watch these videos and get a little bit more information about these people. So this is great.
And shout out to them as well, because on another level, which was our guests have been super educated in their fields. And that's what we aim for. We want to extract that knowledge out of them to showcase this is the person you have to talk to.
Yeah. No, I love it. And the more you guys share, again, the more people watch it, and subscribe to our channel too. I mean,
you know what? I'm gonna do something right now.
Yeah.
Just popped into my head.
Yeah.
This will be posted on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say by the end of March, whoever shares the most videos that we post is gonna win a prize. But I will say that, especially share. Get it out to as many people as you can. And I will pay attention to that, and I will track it. And I will get you into one of these rooms and let you have a great night out for freaking free.
Yeah, let's do that.
Dinner, drinks, whatever. We'll sponsor it. I'll sponsor it. I don't care. Just share it. Get us out in front of more people. Get yourself out in front of more people.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I appreciate it. And again, much love and thanks to the Black Squirrel Bookstore here. This is a great experience. I know that during nighttime there would be more music and more nice time, but at least it's different. It's completely different. It's great. She's awesome. And shout out again to Complete Construction. That's our typical venue, as well as our other sponsors, Jordan from United Construction Solutions, and All Seasons.
Seamless Gutters.
Seamless Gutters. It's a tongue twister, man. I'm telling you, Matt, you're going to hate us. Although I get it right 9 times out of 10. You're the one that trucks me up sometimes. But yeah, thanks again for everyone. We appreciate it. And we're always looking for more sponsors, more donations, and just
more involvement.
Just more involvement. The more people we see, the more watch. It's just great. I love it.
Yeah, and we're obviously getting there. With the amount of demand, it's going to be seen by so many more people.
Yeah.
Which is great. And that's a part of it is the connections, right? That's something that's preached in the B&I room. It's not about who you have in the room. It's the 200 to 300 people behind them that are supporting.
Correct, right.
It's reaching those other markets and those other people.
Yeah. Good stuff. If you happen to see it after these events this weekend, don't forget the third Saturday of every month. It's the Wine Walk, which is brought to you by the Black Squirrel Bookstore. And you get your little wine glass and you go through the town to get wine tastings, and just a great way to see downtown and places that you haven't been able to visit, to do it all in one afternoon. So that's great. And again, I need to eat, Dalton, because I haven't eaten any breakfast or lunch. I'm ready to go.
Here we go.
Yeah, and enjoy St. Cloud for what they have to offer.
Okay. All right, guys. As always, I'm Dalton Albritton, residential real estate professional and luxury advisor. That's Jason Levy. You'll see him around your town and my town and everyone's town. And hopefully you'll see us on this podcast. So inviting you to find your way to live in St. Cloud. Thanks, guys.
Yep. See you around.